Hello friends and welcome to Life in Envelopes. I am Jennifer Bleacher. In today's video we're going to do a budget check-in for the first couple of weeks, well the first 4 days and full week of May. Let's start by taking a look at where I spent my money. First, with debt, I had a payment for my SUV. It was $118 and that came out on the 7th. I also had a payment to loan number 2 for $142. Loan number 2 is a debt consolidation loan, and it's called loan number 2 because I used to have 2 debt consolidation loans and I've already paid off the first one, so this is my second one. And then I had my mortgage payment come out on the 2nd, and that was for $13.16. Okay, moving on to bills. I actually only had one bill this week. That was to State Farm, and it was for $216. Okay, moving on to food. So we had a really big shopping trip to Walmart for $170 and a pretty big one to Sam's for $115. So that was the first week, but then the next week, we spent quite a bit less. So, and we'll do a weekly check-in for those. That's a variable expense, so we do a weekly check-in for that. So we'll check to see where we are as far as the monthly budget goes on that in just a moment here. Okay, so then the next week when I went to Walmart, I only spent $28. And at Sam's, I only spent $56. So as you can see, even though these two were pretty big, the next week was pretty small in comparison. Okay, moving on to gas. I did not get gas in this time frame. For miscellaneous, I had a medical expense this on the 8th for $77. And I went to Target and picked up some items on the 7th. This was a combination of prescription medicine, and then I also needed deodorant and I'm trying to remember, I think deodorant and toothpaste, things like that. So it's a combination of prescription meds and those like small like health and beauty items. As far as spending goes, that was $55 on the 3rd and also $55 on the 10th. Okay, for sinking funds, I actually do this at the end of the month, so I'm not going to have any sinking funds until the end of the month. Okay, let's take a look at the worksheet. Okay, starting with my fixed expenses, that's my pinks and my purples. So State Farm came out and that was $216. We had budgeted $235, so it was a little bit less than what we budgeted. Our mortgage came out and that was exactly what we budgeted, $13.16. Loan number 2 came out and that was $142. And my SUV payment came out and that was $118. Okay, that's it for bills and debts. So moving down here to variable expenses, food, gas, miscellaneous, and spending, we do the total at the end of the month. So then what I do in the meantime is I do a weekly check-in on a worksheet at the end of the spread here. I'll show you. Right here. Here's the weekly check-in. So this is my budget for the whole month. I budget $800 for food, $80 for gas, $200 for miscellaneous, and $220 for spending. So let's take a look at week 1 and how much we spent on food in week 1. We have $170 and $115. So that's $285, quite a bit. So 800 minus 285, that's $515 left for the rest of the month. Okay, moving on to gas, we did not get any gas, so we still have $80 there. Miscellaneous, so that first week we didn't have any. We do in the second week, so we'll take a look at that in just a second. But so we still have 200 there. And then spending is 220. We spent 55. So that's 165 that is left there. Okay, so altogether we spent $285 and 55, so we spent a total of $340. So $1,300 minus $340 is $960. So if I did everything right, if I add these together, it should equal $960. So let's see if I did everything right. $960, perfect. Okay, moving on to week 2. Week 2 was quite a bit less for food. It was $56 and 28. So that's $84. I forgot to write down my starting, so let's do the starting point too. So with food, we're starting with $515. For gas, we're starting with $80. For miscellaneous, I'm starting with $200. Is that right? Yeah. For spending, I'm starting with $165. So let's see how much we have to start with. Oh, we had $960. We already added that together. So we already know we have $960 to start with. Okay, so food is done. Moving on to gas. We did not get gas this week either. Miscellaneous. We had a couple of miscellaneous expenses. We had Target for $46 and medical for $70. So $123. So quite a bit of our miscellaneous budget has been spent already. Okay, and then spending was $55. Spending is always $55, by the way. It's the cash that I give to my family members. Okay, so starting with food, we had $515. We spent $84, so that left us with $431. For gas, we still have $80 because we didn't spend anything on gas. For miscellaneous, we start with $200, we spent $123, and now we have $77 left. For spending, we started with $165 and we did the $55, so we're left with $110. So I'm going to add this column together and see how much we spent this week. So that week we spent $262. So $960 minus $262. That's $698. So if I did everything right and I add this together, it should equal $698. So let's see how I did. Yes, $698. So that's where we're going to start with the week 3. We're going to start with $698. We're going to have $431 available for food, $80 available for gas, $77 for miscellaneous, and $110 for spending. So as far as all of these expenses go, we are right on track with all of our categories. The only one I'm a little bit nervous about is miscellaneous. We only have $77 left, but we'll see how that goes. Okay friends, that is it for this weekly check-in. If you enjoyed today's video, will you please give it a thumbs up? And I will see you all again next time. Bye everyone.